unfortunate, and I was sad to hear the news of the passing of Mayor David Hamilton of Schreiber in a tragic accident on Sunday. So if we could just take a few moments of silence now to recognize our fellow community representative. And we'll continue now with the rest of our meeting. So we have item number 2, review and note any changes to the agenda. I believe there is none. If we can have a mover and a seconder to approve our agenda as presented. John and Belinda. Moved by John Paroff, second by Belinda Kissmaker. Be it resolved that Council does hereby approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor? And that is carried. So moving on to item number 4, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof, declaration of conflict of interest. At this time, I haven't received any from Council. At any time throughout the meeting, if any of those items come up, you are able to declare it then as well. So we'll move on to item number 5, adoption of minutes, the regular meeting of Council, Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and Belinda. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, January 20th, 2021 as distributed. Any comments on the minutes? There being none, those in favor? And that is carried. And moving on to 5.2, the special council meeting minutes. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda and Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of Council held on Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021 as distributed. Any comments on the minutes? And those in to the vote, those in favor? And that is carried. So item 6, business arising from the minutes, there's none. So we're moving on to item number 7, deputation presentations, tender awards, and open discussions. And we do have a presentation to council tonight from Contact North, and the township welcomes Colleen Leduc. And I see Colleen there. Hi, Colleen. Oh, there you are. Nice to have you at our council meeting.
Oh, thanks. Nice to see everybody.
Yes.
I'm wondering if I can have presentation capabilities. I have a very short PowerPoint presentation that I would like to show you all. Is that possible?
You can. I'm not very good at this, and every time I say the same thing, I'm not very good at it, and it takes me a minute.
You know, this is my first time on meeting, so I might be in the same boat with you.
But I
See how
have
this
an
goes.
excuse.
Yes, of course, we'll figure it out for you.
All right.
Hmm.
In the meantime, I'll just spend a few minutes introducing myself. Thank you for making some time on your schedule tonight to have me. I am the Online Learning and Recruitment Officer. That's my official title with Contact North. And I cover the area from Pays Plat all the way up to Michippicotten, including Wawa and Duberville and Hornepayne, White River, Ferris East, Fiber, Picmore, First Nation, and all the way up to Mantawash.
Mm.
So yeah, it is a big area, and we do have student services representatives in each of our major centers. So I'm not doing this alone, thankfully. I will go off camera just so I can share my screen with you. I won't take up too much time.
Perfect. We can see your screen.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. It's there we go. You're in presentation mode now.
Perfect. So again, my intention is just to introduce you to Contact North and what we do in your community, or reintroduce you to Contact North if you're familiar with us. I'm hoping at the end of my presentation, I might receive some feedback from you on how I might be able to, and Contact North might be able to, better service Hornepayne. So what we do is we provide online learning and professional development opportunities to small, rural, and remote communities across Ontario. We are not-for-profit, funded by the provincial government. We have over 600 online learning centers across the province. And what our mandate is to do is, to link up individuals and businesses who would like to get a post-secondary education or further gain job skills. And we do this in a capacity, so we're connecting people with online learning so they don't have to leave their community to upgrade their skills, and they can stay in their community, they can remain employed or remain caregiving if they have a family. So what we offer is program and course information for individuals who need help registering, either for a post-secondary, college, or university degree program, or if individuals are wanting just to do a small micro credential, or individuals who are looking to upgrade perhaps high school, then maybe they haven't finished their degree and they want to go back and finish that off. We point them in the right direction, both with options for their studies, as well as where to go to register. We answer their questions. We provide them with connections to the registrar's office or to the learning institution that facilitates those courses. And I want to highlight the fact that we are 100% cost-free. So there's never any cost for anybody to speak with us or use our services. We have, because we're all online, we have a fabulous technical support division that's available Monday to Friday from 8:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night to help anybody who has issues either logging in or having some technical issues accessing their classroom. We're 100% on board, helping ensure that happens for them. We provide exam invigilation services, community referrals, and one of the things Contact North prides itself on is being a very high-touch organization. So if there's a student who works through us to obtain their course online, so the demand and the offering for these programs has increased tremendously over the last year. We work with over 24 colleges in the province, 22 universities, 76 different school boards, 9 Indigenous institutes, over 200 basic skills providers, and 50 training skills providers. So the other half of what we do aside from college and universities is really building those skills within communities. Again, that can be employment preparation, it could be building skills around computer literacy. We do a lot of English as a second language referrals for people who maybe are new to our communities. Touched on this earlier, the pathways that generally people go through when asking questions of Contact North and looking at educational opportunities post-secondary or training high school and association courses. One of my big jobs is to reach out to employment offices, human resource officers, and Ontario Works offices. Again, getting people who are maybe underemployed or unemployed back into the workforce. In the last 4 years, Contact North has had 230 individual registrations coming from Hornepayne. So that, I think that's a pretty significant number, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more work in your community. I've been the online learning and recruitment officer for approximately 1.5 years, so I'm just kind of digging my heels in and getting to know each of the communities that I'm responsible for. And I would certainly like to make a bigger impact in Hornepayne. So again, looking for any feedback you might have towards the end of my presentation. Our online learning centers, they're fully equipped with computers and high-speed internet so that students can actually come in and use our computers to complete their studies in the event that they don't have access at home or they just prefer to do their studies elsewhere. So unfortunately, we no longer have an access point in Hornepayne, although it is my understanding we did in the past, and I'm kind of looking for avenues to have another access point in Hornepayne. At the present time, White River would be our closest center for anybody in Hornepayne who needed to use a center or needed to have an exam invigilated. So our learning centers have web conferencing, video conferencing, and audio conferencing. We have high-speed internet, again, computer workstations, and full technical support, all available at no cost for any of the students. One of the big advantages of online learning is it is flexible. So oftentimes students don't have to come in and do their classes at a set time and date. A lot of the offerings from colleges, universities, and training centers are study at your own pace, and you can log in when you have some time to do your studies, as long as you're meeting the requirements of the class. Part of the process we go through when working with students is we help them research options. So if they're interested perhaps in a personal support worker course, we can work with them to provide options for different providers. We can look whether they're wanting full-time or part-time studies, whether they would like to study at their own pace. And we've even provided assistance to find field placements. So we help select programs, applications, we celebrate their success. Also, we are able to provide funding options, whether it's OSAP or perhaps they're affiliated with the First Nations, or we refer them to an agency like Northwest Employment where they can look at second career funding. So I've talked a lot about post-secondary, which of course has tuition and all kinds of fees associated with it. What I'm finding over the last years, there's a tremendous amount of interest in a lot of the free courses that we're offering. So we've been doing a lot of work with professionals and organizations across the region to do professional development. Our Gale courses have been extremely popular. They're offered at no cost. You get a certificate when you're done. For example, the Excel program for upgrading has been really popular, as well as the communication courses offered through Gale. We have a lot of university webinars becoming available lately. Lambton's got a great one on diversity and equity in the workforce, and there's been a huge uptake on that in the last month or so, as well as our Brampton Library cards, which allows you to essentially download ebooks and take the Gale courses and even the creative bugs. So for maybe some of the seniors in the community who like crafting and cooking, those are all available through Contact North as well. Some of the personal development, so aside from being very professionally orientated, we offer courses in music and creative writing, cooking, gardening, and crafting. And those have had huge uptake. People have been staying home due to COVID and looking for things to do, or looking for things to do with their children when they were out of school. So very, very popular. I'm trying my very best to work with businesses across my region in promoting some of the health and safety programs, upgrading computer knowledge, bookkeeping, customer service, and communication in the workplace. So if any of you have a need either for yourself or within the departments you work for any of this type of development, you're more than welcome to contact me, and I can see what I can drum up and provide some options to you. Studyonline.ca is our main portal on the web, looking at post-secondary options. So you're welcome to go there if you're looking for a college or university course, and perhaps you don't want to get in touch with me directly. The website's always there. We also have live audio or messaging also available at studyonline.ca. So we try to be available on a number of different platforms. And there's my contact information. And I'm sure you can either reach out to me by taking down my number, or you can find me at studyonline.ca. And that is essentially my presentation. I will try and get back to the main meeting here.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. And just to clarify, so that is your cell number that's on there?
That is my cell number. That is on there, yes.
Okay, so you can text to that as well?
You
if
can
you
text to
identify
that.
yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's well done, and we probably have some questions from council. I know I do, so I'll open up the floor to council for any questions or recommendations on for Colleen as well. Councillor Paroff, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just wondering, so there's a full list of all the courses and programs you offer. That would be on studyonline.ca.
Studyonline.ca does allow you to view all of the post-secondary college and university courses that are offered online throughout the province. What it doesn't give you access to is the thousands of freebie courses that Contact North can put you in touch with. And unfortunately, we don't have a list that's completely compiled.
Okay, I see your mic is muted there now, Colleen. So
Sorry, that was me by mistake.
Okay.
I'm trying to get her back and I don't know how.
oh, she's back there now. She's good now.
I'll just stay away from my keyboard.
Okay, we're back with you. Thank you, Colleen, for staying around.
No problem. I don't know at what point I got muted.
Yeah,
You were talking about that the 1,000 free courses wouldn't be on the online on that online portal, so that they'd have to contact you directly.
Exactly, but that's my job. So any kind of interest you have in some of the freebies, by all means, an email or a text, give me a call, and I'd be happy to help sort that out for you.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, John?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, great. Any other further comments or suggestions, questions from council? Councillor Kistemaker Belinda, go ahead.
When it comes to advertising to the businesses on what kind of courses you have, can you make some suggestions on how that would be done, or, you know, so the businesses actually know what you have to offer and take an interest in what you're doing and what you have?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. We are starting to build some inroads and picking up on making a directory for Hornepayne. In the meantime, I've reached out to the library, and the librarian there has been posting, printing, and sharing. We are members, I think, of, I don't know if it's a Hornepayne buy or sell on Facebook, but there are a few public pages in Hornepayne that we are also posting to. And I believe our contact list for Hornepayne might be about 130 different individuals and businesses in our database. So we reach out to them on an individual and regular basis with courses of interest.
Okay, great. And I think too that you could reach out to our economic development department at the township, and we have an extensive list there as well. And
excellent, I will do that.
yeah, I think I'm on the same page with Belinda, ensure that everyone has this information available to them. They'll probably use it. Does that answer your question, Belinda? Do you have further comments?
Yeah, it's just that going forward, the businesses are, some things they have are mandated that their employees have. And if you are offering that, that would be nice to get to use that. So, you know, just to know what you have, and that you're offering it.
Absolutely. One of the big ones we've been trying to push out to businesses is the accessibility for Ontarians with disabilities, which is mandatory, as well as WHMIS. And we can definitely set up businesses at no cost for the training for their managers and their employees. So I will make a better push to get the list from your economic development office and get in touch with all the businesses that are on there.
Thanks, you answered my question. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Belinda. I have a couple of questions, unless I'm trying to find Councillor Kistemaker Peter. Oh, there you are. Do you have any comment? No, you're good. Okay, Peter is good. I just, when you were going through the free courses, Colleen, you came to those business courses with the list. So those are all included with the free courses then?
They are. That is
Okay.
pulled off the list of our free courses.
Okay, perfect. And I was glad to hear that you would be interested in expanding and working with us to try and open up an online learning center for our community. That was, we did have one in the past, and I know it was utilized. So I would love to see that return to the community in some capacity. And
excellent.
no, go ahead. Go ahead, Colleen.
I was just going to say our new fiscal year starts in April 1st of this year, and I'm hoping that there's some budget for some computers and resources to be directed that way. So I will keep you updated.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And the last question I had was about the Hornepayne registrations, that you had a number of 230. Is that fairly high, or like, if you were comparing to another community, is that high or low? Like, where do we fit for people trying to upgrade their learning?
That's a good question. And I can provide you, I actually, to be completely honest, I think it is on the lower scale of things. Just to give you a very honest kind of reference, the community of, or the First Nation of PECUNIARY, which I'm not exactly sure demographic wise or population wise if it's a fair comparison or not. But PECUNIARY First Nation had over 400 registrations last year alone. But what that says to me is that there's lots of room perhaps for improvement in Hornepayne.
Yes, that was why I asked the question. Was I was wondering if there's a lack of knowledge out there that people can take the courses. Like when you were just talking about the Excel program, like I know just for myself, I was like, oh, what's that? So, and I didn't know that was part of the offering. So that's good. But I don't have any other further questions from council. Gail, did you have any questions or any inquiries you'd like to make or suggestions?
I don't really have any questions. I think what you have to offer is fabulous, and I'm excited to look forward to having you have an office in Hornepayne. I think it'll really boost things for you, and I just think it's fabulous.
Excellent. Thank you for the encouragement.
Okay, so I think we've set you on a good path. I heard you're already connected with our CEO at our local library. And if you connect with our economic development department, that they'll be able to guide you further. And then I'm not sure if you want to reach out to our Hornepayne secondary and elementary school. If there's any connections there, I'm not sure if they would have any ideas for you as well.
I will certainly do that.
Okay, and we can relay if you need any of that contact information. Gail can get that for you.
Excellent. I would appreciate it. I will get in touch with Gail if I can't dig up that information on my own.
Okay, perfect. Well, so nice to have you tonight, Colleen. And you don't have to travel safe, so just stay safe wherever you are and follow the protocols.
Excellent. Thank you again for having me. I look forward to doing more work in your community. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was a really well done presentation. So moving on now to 7.2. And if council wants to look at their agenda package, this was updated earlier today. So I'll give you a minute just to review the report. Dwayne, did you want to speak to your report at all before or highlight anything?
Not particularly, other than the fact that they were they were the most qualified individuals for sure, and they had the most projects of the similar caliber of all the people we went through.
Okay, thank you for that. Has everyone been able to review the report? Councillor Paroff, did you have any questions on the report?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Dwayne, if it gets awarded, what was the time frame for the work being done here? Or have you established that?
There is a Gantt chart that kind of is about 10 months, but there's also government involvement for maybe quite a bit. I can't remember the exact term, but it'll be it's not a quick process, that's for sure.
Of course not. Okay, thanks.
Is the likelihood that we could that we may be able to wrap it up before the end of our term of council, Dwayne, or is it all dependent on the government?
There's a screening process, and it depends where we end up on that, how long it's going to take. If we goes the right way, a lot less time. If not, it might not be in your term.
Okay, okay. Any further questions from council? The only other question I had was when are they planning to come up to our community, just in case we end up in a lockdown again? Because well, Sault Ste. Marie would have been the only one in our district, but they're outside the Porcupine Health Unit anyway, so they're all outside of our catchment area. I'm just wondering if that'll stall timelines.
Possible. I can look up exactly where it was. Give me a second.
But it's in the near future. I'm thinking as long as they're
Yes.
coming up sometime in the summer months, that might be really, or
No, very quickly.
oh, very quickly. Oh, good, 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 good. As you're looking that up, Dwayne, is there any further comments or questions from council? Okay, if I can get a mover and a second for the resolution, please. Peter and John. Dwayne, did you find it there? I see you
Yeah,
unmuted.
that's the project initiation meeting is like March 1st.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, so the recommendation in the report, you can see it there, is to award Service Incorporated from Sudbury. So I'll read the resolution. It's moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Whereas the useful life of the municipality's current active landfill site is nearing its end, and whereas council wishes to undertake an assessment of remaining capacity and investigate options for future use that will provide residents with cost-efficient, environmentally sound, and socially acceptable waste management solutions for the next 25 years. And whereas the township issued a request for proposals, RFP, for the preparation of the long-range waste management plan and has received 4 proposal submissions as follows. All prices exclude HST. Services Incorporated from Sudbury, Ontario, in the amount of $152,817. Golder Associates Limited from Thunder Bay, Ontario, in the amount of $114,000. Adjusted to include preliminary landfill expansion assessment. Pynchon Limited from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, in the amount of $104,000, and Stantec Consulting Limited from Thunder Bay, Ontario, in the amount of $167,200, adjusted to remove the cost of completion of an environmental assessment at the cost of $175,000. And whereas the senior management team have reviewed and compared the above proposals as outlined in the attached staff report and have identified Services Incorporated as the consultant who is best positioned to complete the identified scope of the project and who will provide the best value. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, does, upon the recommendation of the Public Works Manager, does hereby accept the tender submission from Services Incorporated of Sudbury, Ontario, in the amount of $152,817, excluding HST, for the preparation of the long-range waste management plan for the Township, and authorizes same to notify all proponents and to prepare a service agreement for signature in order that the project can proceed. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Gail.
I just wanted to clarify, just for the recording, that the company name is EXP Services Limited.
EXP Services Limited. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Okay, it's in here each time, but I wasn't sure what it was there. So that's the actual title name?
That's the name, EXP.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Okay, no further comments on the motion? Okay, and we'll put it to vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so we're moving on now. Petitions, there's none. Item 8, 9 is disbursements, none. Moving on to managers' reports. So if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda and John. And moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the manager's reports provided at the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. And our first manager's report is the CAO report. Gail, did you want to speak to your report at all before I open up for comments or questions from council?
Yeah, I just wanted to provide an update about the reopening of the office. So we are reopening to the public by appointment only, starting tomorrow. So we'll have our regular hours for Service Ontario Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10 till 2, and then Friday we'll open for municipal business. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Fridays from 10 till 3. So we're all set to do that. Updating in the process of just making a couple of tweaks to the workplace safety plans for all the departments. And then for the fitness facility, we are kind of aiming for Monday. We have to just make sure everything's in line with the automated system that we're putting in place. And Shannon needs to connect with the provider of that service. So if that's enough time frame, a good enough time frame for him, then that's our aim is to do for Monday. And if not, we'll have to go by his timelines, but it won't be too long. Should be sometime next week for sure, but hopefully Monday.
Okay, thank you for that update, Gail. And everyone stay safe as you get back into working at the office. So I open up any comments or questions for Gail on her report from Council. Councillor Paroff, you're unmuted. No? Yes?
Yeah, no, I just, very thorough report. Well done. Thank you very much, Gail.
Okay, thank you, John. Any comments from either Belinda or Peter? Okay. Sorry, Gail, I have a few. I'm referring to the last paragraph of the first page about the red application. I was wondering how much did we end up applying for?
Stacey, you might have to help me out on this one. Where our portion is up to 75%, or sorry, 75,000, and I believe it was 150,000 total, right? It's 50% funding. Okay, I didn't do too bad there.
Okay, so we applied for the whole amount then, and our
Yeah.
portion would be 75,000?
Yes.
Okay. And I was just wondering, for consideration of the amount of workers, like if we're successful in that, we're hoping to hire someone with that money. Plus we'll have the summer experience program student that will need an office. And I'm just wondering where we're housing employees.
We could have somebody downstairs, working downstairs, and then I don't know, Stacey, if you have an extra desk at your economic development office, so both of those people would be covered.
Okay, great. Okay, the other one that I wanted to mention is the second full paragraph on page 2 about the NOHFC announcement of their new funding streams. And I'm glad to see that your staff's going to be looking into possibilities in the coming weeks of things that we may be able to apply for. But the one that I wanted to just highlight for when you're talking to your staff is that the investment locate stream, it sounds to me like it's for existing businesses locating business operations to Northern Ontario. And it's quite an attractive amount of money. And I'm not sure if we can have a secondary site for the housing construction that the mill already does, or maybe invite one of the companies to create a digester up here. There's the possibility that we could talk with Indra. When Dwayne and I toured the Toronto digester, they had a big investor who wanted to do some small play investments, and I don't think there's a digester in the north yet. Yeah, so that was the only one that I wanted to highlight out of there. That.
Okay, great.
And the other question I had was for the official plan. I'm excited to see the draft document that's coming. What is the next steps after that once we receive that official plan?
So the draft, once we sort of go through the draft and get it the way we think we want it, it goes to the ministry. And then Stacey, I don't know if Sarah was able to get back to you today with the specifics on consultation or not.
Well, I do have the timeline that she didn't get back to me today, but I do have the timeline of that we had before.
Okay.
So I can give you the overview, and if I'm giving you too much information, just let me know.
Well, I'm more looking for Stacy, I'm more looking for to start when we do community updates, if I do a live of updates of more specifically of when the community will be looking for their consultation again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to get the draft bylaw and official plan in the next couple of weeks, and we'll probably have it for about 2 or 3 weeks to review, and then changes will go. So basically it'll go to the ministry, probably, it could be earlier, but probably April, end of March, April. And then the community consultation, the first session to review that will be approximately a month after we send that into the ministry. So probably April. And then the ministry takes a minimum of 120 days, can be less, but usually it's 120 days. And then it'll come back for review, revision. And then our final public meeting will be September. And that'll be after it's approved by MMAH. So we'll still have 2 other sessions, probably April and September.
Okay, so basically at this level, staff and will council look at the report again as well before it goes to the ministry?
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll clean it up, then it goes to the ministry, and then it'll come back for consultation after the ministry. Okay, and then once we have that consultation, it'll go back to the ministry. They have about 120 days. Hopefully we get it back by September, and then we can look at passing it and accepting it then with another consultation. Okay, thank you for that. I'd like to get it out there so people know that it's there and there's opportunity coming, and to get involved in your community.
Thanks, Stace.
Okay. Oh, then the other part that I wanted to know was we've hired a project manager for the position of the MSC, and I'm wondering when we'll know who this person is, or when the public know. I would just like to give them a call to welcome them to the community.
So I'm going to, he's agreed to take the position, but I haven't got him his contract yet. So I'm hoping to do that by the end of the week. And then he'll have a week to review it. So we're hoping that he can start on March the 1st. That's the timeline we have kind of figured out. So if all goes well, he should be on board by then.
Okay, I'll just get a quick email to you, and then we can set up a call. So just to welcome him to our town.
Sure.
And oh, I just wanted to highlight in Gail's report, she talks about Al Condalusi's series that we're participating in about from Community Living Algoma and how to build communities. I have to say that I wanted to highlight this for people and for the video recording of our meeting, so people understand that this was initiated through a citizen letter. So we received a letter that we set up an appointment. We were able to contact with Community Living Algoma. We've able to make some strides there and work together. And I just wanted to highlight that this was citizen driven at the beginning, and it's given us access to this really good webinar series that's going to help us with our community mapping and our wellness plan for our community and for the upcoming CIP. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm glad that we were able to have that meeting with Community Living Algoma. So thank you for answering my questions, Gail, and for the fine report. Any other further comments for Gail? Okay, we'll move on then. We have the Client Service Managers report. Welcome, Melissa. Do you want to speak to your report at all before we have any questions?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Council, do you have any questions or comments for Melissa? I don't see any, and I don't have any, so you're off easy. Welcome back. Okay. Moving on to the Public Works Managers report. Dwayne, do you want to speak to your report before I open up the floor for questions?
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add, okay. Council, do you have any questions or comments for Dwayne? Okay, and I have none on mine either. And the Economic Development Officer's report for Stacy. Do you want to speak to your report first, Stacy?
No, I don't think I have anything to add. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council? No, okay. I don't have any questions or comments either. Yes, Gail, you got it all tonight. Okay. So we do have the motion on the floor to accept the manager's report. So I'll put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, our next item is 11 correspondence action items. And the first item on our agenda is the Minister of Transportation 11.1. And we talked about this last meeting, Council, about writing a letter and getting our voice heard and giving direction for Gail to put together our response. I'll open the floor to Council. Oh, go ahead, Gail. Did I miss something?
No, but if you give me a minute, I was hoping that we could have time to put some things together to attach to the agenda, but we didn't have time, just so we give you some of the things we've already talked about, some of the things that were in our Roma delegation, and I'm just looking for that because I had jotted some stuff down. So if you want to, I can look for it if you like while you speak, or you can just hang on a second.
Well, we can just hang on for a second there for you. And we
Okay.
still have until, what date is the date for the final submissions?
Let me see. Can't
I
remember.
think it's in the letter. I'll open up the letter. March 10th. I got it there.
Okay.
Because I still think I should do a quick video and we'll email it out to all our
Okay, here it is.
partner communities so that people put in submission.
Okay, so we had talked about at our Roma delegation, we had talked about making sure Via Rail passenger service was restored and running on time. We talked about the Ontario Northland bus service and having the connections between the two highways or between the communities, and possibly having a daily service to Hearst for people to have appointments, dental appointments and shopping, pharmacy, whatever. And I'm kind of paraphrasing. Municipal airport, we just talked about how we are hoping to become a regional hub, and we'd be able to maintain conditions to support critical services to our community. And we also spoke to the maintenance of trail systems. So these are all referenced in the plan, the draft plan, i.e. action item number 10, 11, 40 and 52 is the maintenance of trail systems. So we were thinking of the snowmobile trails and the Center of Ontario Trail, because Hornepayne is not actually listed anywhere in the plan, and we're not on any of the maps at the moment. So, and the minister did make a point of saying that, you know, it's just a draft, and they were planning on focusing in more on each sort of area, but we want to make sure we are in there, of course. And highway maintenance, we discussed that. What else? We also this wasn't at the Roma delegation, but in passing in different conversations with people, we've talked about. I mentioned the ONR shuttle. One of the things about the airport was a readily available, reliable transportation to help us connect to experts and professionals. And we'd like to eventually see a scheduled passenger air service. Our central location is vital to the province and our Ontario. We could be the hub for many things. And we talked about highway rest areas. That was at the Roma delegation, actually. It does mention rest areas in the plan, but it doesn't mention any on our highway. And the kind of the push was on for the need for more in our area, even if they're smaller and not so have the amenities of what some of the other ones have on the busier highways. I guess there are new regulations that drivers have to adhere to, which makes them have to stop more often. So we need more rest areas. And again, Hornepayne needs to appear in the plan. So those are some of the things that have been jotted down. So, you know, if you have anything else you'd like to put in there or us to add on or to embellish, then certainly I can take the notes now, or you can email me in the next week or so. Give me enough time to get it together.
Okay, council comments for Gail? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
So the letter that you guys are gonna write up is gonna have everything that you just talked about within it?
Yes,
Okay.
it's actually going to be a submission on the EBR.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna be not a letter, it's gonna be a book, I think.
Well, I mean, I can point form it.
No, that's fine.
You
You'll
want
do
them
a
to
great
be
job, I
press.
know.
That's okay. It can be a book. Yeah,
You
we'll
want
send,
their
we'll
attention.
send them Hornepayne's transportation plan back to them. Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker Belinda.
I went through it a little bit last night, and one thing that we should probably elaborate on is with the internet service and all that. They talk about it in the plan, but if they're making everything, if they're trying to make it better, if the guys are going to electronic logbooks and stuff like that, we probably should be reminding them that's a huge issue, that they are going to have to make sure that that service is available everywhere, whether it's phones or computers within their trucks or whatever, for dispatches or whatever.
I'm not sure which point that would fall under, but I do
think-
agree with you, Belinda. Did you
I-
know what point it was or what
Yeah,
number?
I think it's in the last, near the very end, number 5 or 6, one of the two.
Okay,
I can send something.
okay. The only comments that are, Belinda, are you finished? Do you have any other comments that you'd like to make? Are you going to send that in to Gail to highlight
Yeah.
where it's, what it fits with? Okay. The only one that I was thinking about was in the executive summary, it talks about goal 6 and about working together. We will help help people travel more efficiently, get to work faster, connect to critical services, and spend more time with family and friends. I'm wondering if that's the area where we can sell our airport, where we link it into there. I am in total agreement with the maps. And I agree with the shuttle service. I have it highlighted on page 15, if that helps. It's the second, third paragraph. And we should definitely be on the passenger transportation services map. All of those maps. Okay, what I'll do, Gail, for the rest of it, because I think you highlighted most of what I wanted to highlight, is I'll put together my submission because I would like to do mine on my own, and then I'll also like be included with councils. I think that'll be good, and then I'll send what I'm highlighting. It's everything that you have highlighted,
Okay, sounds good.
and then we don't have to take up time here, but I think we're on the right track. It was, the one that I really wanted to highlight was on goal 6, the Ring of Fire area, is that we need to be in part of that with rail. And when do you need that by, Gail?
Like a week from now would be good.
So February the 26th? Or sorry, not the 26th, the
24th.
24th?
Time gets away from me, so that would probably be good.
Okay. So if you have any further ideas on that, and have you been speaking with Councillor Stefanik at all about that issue, Gail?
Not about that, but I can touch base with him.
Okay, just to ensure that he's probably read it and wants some input there.
Sure.
Okay, if there's no further comments on that, we'll move on, Council, to 11.2. Okay, did we want to speak? Is Bonnie here tonight? I can't see. Did Bonnie want to speak to her report before I open up questions for Council? Go ahead, Shannon. Oh, is there? Sorry. Oh, there is. My apologies. Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder for the resolution, please. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby authorize Township staff to provide a formal written submission on behalf of Council to both the Ministry of Transportation and the Environmental Registry of Ontario, ERO number 019-2830, on Connecting the North, a draft transportation plan for the North to get people moving, improve transportation and travel options, and support economic growth in Northern Ontario while vital short-term and long-term benefits to the community. And those in favor? And that is carried. And thank you for that, Shannon. Okay, now moving on to 11.2. Did Bonnie want to speak, or Gail, go ahead.
No, but Melissa is willing to take questions if you want. And just so going forward, we've got the FCM and the healthy communities. So I can try and answer FCM, and Stacy can answer for healthy communities if there are any questions.
Okay. Well, my understanding after I read everything, this all fits together because we're going to be we're looking at transferring money for the excavator to allow us to apply for the second stream as well, right? Like this all. So Council, do you have any questions on the document at hand? We're looking at the Municipal Modernization Program Intake 2. And it's a report. Melissa, do you want to speak to this, how it all fits together?
Sure. So you'll see in my report in regard to the moving the excavator funding, when we were going through the guidelines for the municipal modernization program, there was a section in the application that we have to certify that we've spent all of our money from the March 2019 funding, one-time funding, in order to apply for this funding. So there was a little bit of shift for the funds so we could either allocate or spend all of the funds from that money in order to apply for this new fund.
Okay, are we okay to take questions on that other report right now as well? Because they're both kind of linked together.
Yeah, that would make
Yeah.
sense.
Are you prepared to do that, Melissa?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Councillor Paroff, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just not very clear on if the CAO to submit an expression of interest, what is the direction? What is the ask? Like, what do we want this for? I know you're moving money around, but are we allocating it to something particular?
No, an expression of interest is just telling the ministry that you're interested in applying for that funding.
Whatever. Okay, thanks.
Are you concerned about where that funding is going to be spent, John? Is that your question?
Well, I'm just wondering what, going through the writing an expression of interest to apply for funding, but what is the target? What is the end goal? What do we need the funding for? Or where can we apply it? Or do we have any idea yet?
So we've got that in the report as well, but mine's not loading. So
It's in the first report, correct?
yeah, but mine,
I've got it here if you want. So right
Nope.
now, things we're looking at right now are township website upgrades, including making the website and web content accessible as per the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, the records retention bylaw, and electronic records management system, IT support, IT disaster recovery plan, electronic training program, and actually Dwayne thought of another one a couple of days ago was the GPS units for the equipment. So this stream right here is kind of geared towards technology. So most of these things will fit into that stream. So all of these things were things that were not updated, identified in our service delivery review. And then if we think of anything else in between now and then that would fit, we can throw that in there as well.
Okay. So you're just going to ask for the money and then figure out how much we get accepted for the.
No, we'll have to figure out what we're applying for and apply for that once we have all the quotes in and everything, which we do have some, but not everything right at the moment. So no, we'll have to have and we'll have to tell them what we're planning on spending it on and what the amount is that we're asking for. I don't know. I didn't read all the guidelines, and I don't know if there's sometimes when you do an expression of interest, then you're invited to apply afterwards. So I'm assuming that's what the process is, but I didn't look at that.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so we're going to have a targeted thing that we're looking for money for. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And thank you.
Okay, I have a question about, so if we're transferring the funds, because if we were to buy the report, our 25%, if we were to do the maximum, would be 83,000. And we're going to be freeing up though some of those funds that from the community well-being that was going to be spent on the excavator. Is that what we're looking at, is in the end that'll pay our portion?
yes.
Yes, okay. I only have the one report up and I'm going by memory from the other report. So this could actually add, like if we were able to figure out, we could actually get a lot more things done that we didn't think we were going to be able to afford at the tune of like 300,000. Okay.
And just to go back to what Gail was saying, there's an expression of interest. The guidelines are March 15th, and then May 2021, you learn whether the application is approved. And then if it is approved, you enter into a transfer payment agreement. So
Okay.
there is no application process. It's just an expression of interest.
Okay, and currently with everything that we've done so far, we've far exceeded the expectations of those first modernization funds, I think. Yeah, okay, I'm excited about this. So in the resolution I'm holding, there's no insert of funds. So are you looking for us to say the full amount or up to the full amount?
Yeah, that's what we would recommend, yes.
Okay. Okay, council, any further comments on that? Questions, where we're going? Hopefully we get this for our community. So I'll insert in the resolution that you have with your packages. I'll insert 200 so I should insert 250,000, right? Because that's the maximum. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. So I've inserted $250,000 into the resolution. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the motion, please. Peter and Belinda. Just before I read, we have the other discussion about the excavator and the transfer of funds coming, and everyone is well aware of why that needs to happen. Just to kind of just so we don't put the cart before the horse here. Everyone's good there? Okay. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, does hereby authorize the CAO clerk to submit an expression of interest, EOI, to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing regarding the Municipal Modernization Program, Intake 2, Implementation Stream, up to a maximum of $250,000. Expression of interest submission deadline is March 15th, 2021. Okay, Council, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, just to help me stay, this is where I've inserted a few resolutions. Just because I got them a bit later with the paperwork and I don't want to mess us up here. So we're at 11.3, Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Okay. I can't wait till we're back in the office and I have like support right here. I have to say, Hornepayne, our staff does an amazing job of keeping everything in order and together. Usually it's me that messes things around when I'm reading it. Okay, so Federation, we have a report. And who would you like to speak to this report ahead of time, or?
It's me. I did that. This came late as well. So basically, we're planning on, like we did last time, applying with the group of communities. We each do our own applications, but we're applying sort of together. We each get our own funding. So to apply for $50,000, which is the max, our portion would be $5,555.56, which is half of what our portion was last time, which was $12,500. So we're just looking to further our asset management plans with an develop a condition assessment strategy, conduct condition assessments, and update the asset inventory information as far as we can with the money that we would get. One thing they have said is because we were successful last time, we may not be successful this time. I guess they want to share the wealth, but we are hopeful. This is the second round, right, Melissa, of this funding? of this section of funding. So hopefully, you know, a lot of the ones that hadn't applied before applied in the first round, and we'll you know, they'll look favorably upon our application. So we are hopeful. I can try to take any questions if you have any. I don't know much more than what's in here, really, but
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm on the right report, Gail. I'm on 2021 Federation of Canadian Municipalities Asset Management Report, and then the responding resolution is develop and condition assessment strategy. There's 3 points there, bullet
Yes.
points. Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Okay, so I open the floor for council for any questions or comments. Okay, I don't see any. Okay, I'll get a mover and a seconder for the motion, and then I can read it. John and Peter. Okay, moved by John Peroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne does hereby direct staff to apply for the grant opportunity from Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for improving asset data for future planning, and commits to conducting the following programs under the project to advance the Township's asset management program. Develop a condition assessment strategy, conduct a condition assessments, and update assessment inventory information. Be it further resolved that the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne commits to $12,500 to this project and will expense costs to this funds set aside for planning.
excuse me,
Yes, go ahead.
do you have 2 resolutions there?
That's what I was wondering. That's
I brought
exactly
you-
why I was.
You know what? I did bring you a new one today, but I forgot
Yes.
that there was one there from before.
Okay, that's exactly why I was looking at it. I'm
Okay.
like, this hasn't got the right number on it.
The same, it's all the same wording except the value changed to 5,500 instead of the 12,500. Sorry about that.
No,
forgot
that's
what was
okay. I
there.
knew there was, when I was looking at it, I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't the one.
And I was reassuring you, so I didn't help.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the other resolution has everything the same except the amount, Gail? Okay. And the amount should be $5,555.56.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I've inserted that amount, $5,555.56, instead of committing the $12,500. And I will find the proper resolution and fill everything in appropriately after we're done the meeting.
Okay.
So, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay. Oh, and if I get to that resolution and start reading it, someone. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's move on. Now, we're on 11.4. So this is pretty, I was really impressed with this report. This is pretty interesting. This would be great for our seniors. Does Gail or Stacy, do you want to speak to the report before I open up for questions?
I think it's pretty much covered in the report, but if you have any questions about the specifics, just let me know.
Okay. With all these applications, we're going to have to get like a designated application writer. That's it. All the staff is shaking their head.
Yeah, and I think there's another 3 or 4 that are down the pipe, so.
Oh. And I think into the future too, there will be more, like, just to recover, right, from the pandemic. And
Just if I could add, what's really impressive is this one is 100% funded. Even the last one was 90% funded. Like, how do you turn those down? I mean, we can't apply for everything, but that's pretty much free money, right?
mm-hmm. And I'm really sure, like, the library can totally incorporate this right into their systems. Like, this would just be an added benefit for everyone. Win, win, win.
And it's a short timeline, but it's low hanging fruit, right? So something that we can do quick. It's already identified at the library as a need. And I've already discussed it with our CEO. So the application deadline is very short, but we already have this in the process. So for the second stream, we can plan for a different project.
Okay. Well, and two, I'm thinking we did the seniors survey as well. Would that help with this as well? Yeah. Okay. Okay. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornepayne does hereby directs the CAO clerk to apply for the Canada Healthy Communities Initiative at 100% federally funded program under the Digital Solutions theme for the creation of a lending library for tablets for seniors and families in the community. Application deadline is March 9th, 2021. Those in favor? And that is carried. Well, I'm excited to hear about that. Just one further question about that second portion. Are you going to be coming back to council for ideas on that? Or are you just going to, yes? Okay, I was wondering if we were just going to fill it from the
We'll have to come back for another resolution. It's not, that second stream is not due till June 25th.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 11.5. I had a question about the support motion. I guess I'll get a mover and a seconder first, and then we can read it and have a discussion. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please, John and Belinda. Okay, moved by John Paroff, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the Ontario government proposes amendments to the Crown Forest Sustainability Act in Schedule 8 of the Provincial Budget Bill 2029, Protect, Support and Recover from COVID-19 Act Budget Measures 2020, and whereas the Crown Forest Sustainability Act applies to almost 2/3 of Ontario's land base, which amounts for over 70 million hectares of land that is habitat for many species at risk. And whereas Bill 229, Schedule 8, amends the Crown Forest Sustainability Act in order to exempt all forestry operations from mandatory consideration of species at risk protection and recovery as mandated by the Endangered Species Act. And whereas Bill 229 Schedule 8 removes the ability to issue orders in circumstances where there is imminent danger to a species at risk, and whereas Council received correspondence from the municipality of West Grey requesting support for their resolution number regarding Schedule 8 of the Provincial Budget Bill 229 Protect, Support, and Recover from COVID-19 Act. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne does hereby support the Municipality of West Grey resolution attached, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Honourable Peter Lentfally, Minister of Finance, and Honourable John Yakubutsky, Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, and Honourable Jeff Yurek, Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Michael Mantha, MPP Algoma Manitoulin, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, and the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FNOM, for their support. So I had a question, and we have some forestry people on council, so I was excited about that. I was just concerned about exactly how this affects our area, and if there's any concern about the way it's written. Should we change that up so that we're supportive of our local forestry industry, or should we defer it and talk to people that it may affect, because forestry is a big issue for our community? Councillor Paroff?
The way I read this, what they're talking about with the species at risk is it's when you write a forest management plan to manage your forest, you have to follow the Crown Forest Sustainability Act. And there's another provision where they have to follow the Species at Risk Act, two different acts. But the Crown Forest Sustainability Act, when you write the FMP, takes all that into consideration. So you're actually duplicating the Species at Risk Act. So you're following the same act twice. It's already been approved, and now you have to follow it again. And you can't really do that. This has been on the table for many years, even when I was doing that.
So when you say it was on the table for many years, is to actually go with the amendments of taking it out of there because it's already covered in the one Forestry Sustainability Act. That was correct. My concern.
Yeah, it's almost similar to the Forest Aggregate Pits Act. Like forest companies can have a kind of a blanket thing to have forest aggregate pits to use on the roads only, but they don't follow the Aggregate Pit Act, which is a different category, because there's an overlap. You can't have an overlap when you do the follow acts. It's covered.
Okay, so then it would reduce red tape, then it must fall in that as well.
It would reduce a heck of a lot of red tape. Okay,
so any further comments from council about supporting this resolution? Not to make, go ahead, Councillor Kissmaker. Peter, go ahead.
So, Councillor Paroff, just to get it straight, you're more up on this stuff than any of the rest of us. So you're suggesting that if you don't support this, if we go with the amendment that the government is proposing, basically just going to cut out a lot of redundancies and save time. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we should support this. Yes, definitely.
We shouldn't, or we should?
We should. It says they want to remove the duplication.
Okay.
Well, I think they oppose it, do they not?
That's what I took from it.
Yeah, just a second, because they're saying because it does. Yeah, they're asking to repeal Schedule 8 of Bill 229.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood that, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is why we have conversation, because like when I read it, I was like, oh, I'm so glad we have people that know more about what this means for our industries around and what does this actually play out. So John, when you say that the Crown Forest Sustainability Act is in that act itself, there's protections in place that they have to ensure that the species at risk and all of those things are met, and they have to meet.
Yes.
Okay. Any further comments from council? Councillor Kistemaker, Belinda, do you have any further comments? No? What is your take on supporting or not supporting the resolution? Just a second, Gail.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not sure either.
It wouldn't hurt to show it around and see what people have to say. I don't know.
Because maybe we can reword it where we support them, but figure out exactly what we want if we want to support it at all. Gail, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just looking Schedule 8 up, and the first thing that comes up is Schedule 8 of Bill 229 passed yesterday. Remember, it currently exempts, I didn't know the date. It permanently exempts forestry companies licensed through the Crown Forest Sustainability Act from the prohibitions preventing the killing and destroying species at risk habitat, as well as provisions to protect and recover habitat.
So it was already passed.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Can we just so we just defeat it? Like it's useless.
Well, it's it's kind of irrelevant unless they're gonna fight it, but it's kind of too late probably.
Yeah. Councillor Paroff, did you have a comment?
I was gonna say, just let it go until it comes back on the table some other time.
It'll come back around.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put it to the vote. Those that are in favor of carrying the motion. Those that are in favor of defeating the motion. And it is defeated. Thank you for looking that up, Gail, because I think we were all on the same page that we weren't sure. And if it's done, it's done. Okay, 11.6. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda. Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Whereas the Association of Municipalities of Ontario has reported that municipal governments own more of Ontario's infrastructure than any other order of government, and most of it is essential to economic prosperity and quality of life. And whereas municipalities deliver many of the services that are critical to residents in every community, and these services rely on well-planned, well-built, and well-maintained infrastructure. And whereas the Ontario provincial government has stated that universal asset management will be the foundation of its municipal infrastructure strategy, because effective asset management planning helps ensure that investments are made at the right time to minimize future repair and rehabilitation costs and maintain assets. And whereas the federal and provincial infrastructure funding models now contain requirements for recipients to demonstrate that comprehensive asset management planning principles are applied when making decisions regarding infrastructure investment. And whereas infrastructure funding limits need to be large enough to support significant projects that have a lasting community impact over multiple generations. And whereas targeted funding for critical infrastructure is inconsistent with the principal foundation of an asset management strategy which prioritizes needs over wants and has resulted in underfunding of a wide range of infrastructure that municipalities are responsible for maintaining, such as municipal department buildings, libraries, and waste management. And whereas, for example, the community culture and recreation stream of the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program received demand of almost 10 billion for a 1 billion funding envelope, and whereas broad eligibility for funding is more appropriate as municipalities best understand their infrastructure needs together with the needs of their community. And whereas no or insufficient funding programs currently exist to fund the demonstrated need for the building, restoration, and enhancement of municipal offices, public works, and fire departments, and waste management renewal. And whereas funding the replacement of these needed capital assets is beyond the financial capacity of most communities. And whereas the economy of Ontario has been negatively impacted by the ongoing measures implemented to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, does hereby support the Town of Bracebridge's resolution number 21-GC-024 dated January 20th, 2021 regarding infrastructure funding. Be it further resolved that the federal and provincial governments consider providing immediate, broad, and substantial municipal funding opportunities for well-planned, shovel-ready projects already prioritized under municipal asset management plans that would provide immediate stimulus to the local, provincial, and federal economies in order to rebound from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, be it resolved that this resolution be forwarded to the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Federal Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Peter Bethlefali, Ontario Minister of Finance, the Honourable Laurie Scott, Ontario Minister of Infrastructure, the Honourable Stephen Clark, Ontario Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, FNOM, Carol Hughes, MPP, Algoma, Manitoula, Kapuskasing, and Michael Mantha, MPP, Algoma, Manitoulan. Any discussion on the motion? I just have one comment. When we do send the resolutions to the different people, we include a letter with that, because we did talk about this a bit with the tiered funding for our municipal structures and putting our buildings together and that sort of thing.
Yes, we did.
So can we mention that in our letter when we send it?
Sure.
That this kind of fits alongside that?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I'll put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, 11.7, Michael Mantha, MPP, and it's the correspondence letter to the Solicitor General. Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder. John. And Peter? Did you want to speak to the report at all, Gail?
Shannon actually helped Miles with this, but basically, we've got a whole bunch of correspondence, I guess, up in arms against opposing the closure of the Ontario Fire College for many good reasons, as are outlined in the documents and in the report. So I think just based on discussions that Miles had and that Shannon has had also with people, it's a big expense to move to regional training centers compared to what was provided here. So I think that just the fire chief is very, very, I guess, upset at the fact of it closing. So just nothing really that's not in the report, but I think it's something that should really get a lot of consideration.
Yes, and it wasn't like, what shocked me was there was no, like, they didn't know this was coming at
No.
all.
No, sound
And it's
familiar?
closing at the end of March. Yeah. Yeah, it does sound familiar. Okay, I'll read the motion. Moved by John Paroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. The Ontario Fire College, OFC, has been in existence since 1949, and whereas the OFC has built a reputation of integrity, credibility, and reliability in providing some of the best and most cost-effective methods for municipalities to train their firefighters to NFPA standards in Ontario, which assists us all to protect our residents. And whereas the OFC gives Ontario firefighters another option other than the more expensive regional training centers to obtain National Fire Protection Association NFPA certifications. And whereas only a small percentage of the Township of Hornepayne Fire Department has any formal training, which members are responsible to train junior firefighters with the minimal training received. And whereas as volunteers, firefighters are on call 24/7, 365 days with 365 with day jobs and families that expect them to come home safely each and every time. And whereas the OFC makes top tier training accessible to all, as well is the primary source of certified training for fire departments in Ontario. And whereas the OFC has been used to train and certify both volunteer, part-time, and career firefighters throughout Ontario. And whereas municipalities are mandated to have fire departments, yet there is no provincial or federal funding for volunteer fire departments for much needed equipment and training. And whereas the Ontario government revoked Ontario Regulation 379-8 firefighter certification, it was made known by the Office of the Solicitor General that the Act would be amended and brought back in the future. And whereas the province wants to mandate training levels for firefighters and now wishes to close the Ontario Fire College located in Gravenhurst, Ontario, which is used by many government agencies such as the Ministry of Transportation, Ontario Provincial Police, firefighters, both full-time and volunteer. And whereas without a plan in place, it is unadvisable to close down a vital training center that serves Ontario and could put municipalities at risk. And whereas Council continues to receive multiple pieces of correspondence for various sources outlining the negative impacts that the closure of the OFC will have on community fire departments and requesting their support to oppose the closure. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby request that the Province of Ontario reconsider their decision, as well provide consultation to all stakeholders on the closure of this all-important facility, the Ontario Fire College. Be it further resolved that the Council does hereby support Michael Mantha, MPP, Algoma Manitoulin, as well as the various organizations and municipalities across Ontario who reached out through correspondence letters concerned with the OFC closure. Be it finally resolved that this resolution be forwarded to Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Ontario Solicitor General, the Honourable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, John Pegg, the Ontario Fire Marshal, for their consideration and action, with a copy also being provided to Michael Mantha, MPP Algoma Manitoulin, and the municipalities requesting support. And I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. I'm wondering if when we send it out, Gail, we don't send out different letters to each minister, do we?
No, well, yeah, we do, but it's the same wording.
Yeah, I'm wondering with Minister Stephen Clark is maybe highlight that this is similar to what happened to us with the LCBO.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they might look at it, hopefully. Okay, moving on to 11.8. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas the Police Services Act 1990 was amended on January 2019 to make it mandatory that every municipality in Ontario prepare and adopt a community safety and well-being plan, CSWB plan, by January 1st, 2021. And whereas the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing introduced the Municipal Emergency Act 2020 to assist municipal governments and local boards during the COVID-19 emergency. And whereas the protective measures municipalities have put in place to protect their communities, councillors, and staff members, including eliminating face-to-face meetings, closing municipal offices, and encouraging staff to work from home. Whereas Bill 189, Coronavirus COVID-19 Support and Protect Act 2020, was passed to amend various acts to support municipal policing and community partners during the pandemic. And whereas while these measures are imperative and necessary, they impose undue hardships on municipalities to meet provincial deadlines, such as the completion and adoption of a community safety and well-being CSWB plan prior to the revised date July 1st, 2021 that was recently announced. And whereas Council received correspondence from the Township of Asphodel Norwood requesting support for the province to extend the revised deadline for the completion of community safety and well-being plans. And whereas staff advises that it is not reasonably possible to complete the plan within this time frame. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby support the Township of Asphodel Norwood's request to call upon the Solicitor General to review the imposed deadline for municipalities to complete and adopt community safety and well-being CSWB plan in consultation with local governments to address the unique challenges facing individual regions. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Ontario Solicitor General, and the Minister of Community and Safety and Correctional Services for consideration, as well as to the town of Asphodel Norwood. Any comments on the motion? Those in favor? Oh, go ahead, Gail.
I was just going to say there is no way that I will get to that, like just myself, one municipality by July.
No.
So I'm sure others are in the same boat.
Yeah. Okay, those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, moving on to 11.9. So this is an action item just to give direction of how we'd like to move forward. I did reach out to the mayor of White River today to ask if he had received any correspondence back from his letter, and he hadn't. He hasn't even received acknowledged that they've received it. And I did talk with Gail. We usually do have, I believe, their annual meetings, Gail, that we have with the police.
Yeah,
And
once or twice a year. It's been a year for sure this time.
yeah, so we've been looking at trying to set that up to ensure that our policing levels don't drop and to ensure we don't lose. And I think the mayor of White River is concerned that they'll lose their policing, the people that are actually living there. So is there any other further comments or ideas that council would have in addressing this issue or support that we could give? Do we want to draft a resolution? Go ahead, Gail.
I'm just wondering if it wouldn't make sense, just to keep the relationship positive, to have the meeting before doing a resolution, because our situation may not be the same as White River's number one. And we've got a good relationship right now. I
Yeah.
just think it might be better to wait a bit.
Yeah, I agree. But that could be a possibility. We have a meeting and then we could even have a support resolution of, you know, we've had good policing. We need to maintain those levels, that sort of thing as well. Okay, no other further comments there from council? Okay, we'll move on to 11.10. So who are we nominating? Is that why you have this on here, Gal?
I just thought I put it on there. And then if you want to nominate somebody, then we'll have something ready for the next meeting because there's time.
Okay. Does council have any ideas? I don't have any that stick out at all. So. Okay, we'll move on then. Okay, it's 7:50. Does council want to break for 10 minutes and then we'll resume back at 8 to finish the rest of our agenda? I've got John shaking his head. Gail, go ahead.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not. It's not a question. I'm not asking. I don't have that ballot. Yes, we're on recess till 8 o'clock. I have to recover my voice. Oh, go ahead, Shannon. Did you need to talk to me? Okay, great. Thank you for that. 12, correspondence, information only. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda. And Peter. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda at the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. And is there any discussion from any of those items in the information only package that Council would like to discuss? Okay, the only thing I just wanted to highlight a couple of things for the Ontario Clean Water Association of the cost plus report for the third quarter. It was showing some in the red. I'm wondering if that's going to bounce back. If we've had any discussions on that.
The last discussion that we had with them, and we are actually meeting again with them tomorrow or Friday morning, was that they expect, without, promising anything, they're expecting a credit.
Oh, okay.
Credit,
Good.
so.
Okay, that's much better.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last point I just want to point is 12.6, just for residents, and that there are some programs for residential and small business customers from Hydro One, and there's relief available, and people can look at that. Okay, I'll put that to the vote then if there's no further comments from council. Okay, those in favor to accept the information only package? And that's carried. Hey, 13 donations, there's none. 14 conferences, seminars, training, none. 15 committee reports, none. And we're on 16. 16.1, COVID-19 community control update. And I'll hand that off to Gail.
Okay, so I have things to report. As we all know, we moved from the lockdown stay-at-home order to the orange, which is a restrict level of the province's framework. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that came out in the Hornepayne Health Unit's media release on Friday. Was increased levels of activity are available, but it doesn't mean they are safe. We need to be acutely aware of risks associated with increased contacts with those we don't live with. So they're still telling you to try and stick with the people that you live with, even though, I don't have this with me, but even though the gatherings are allowed to be 10 people indoors, 25 outdoors, businesses are reopening, restaurants are reopening with restrictions for spacing and only 4 seated at a table, things like that. They're still encouraging people to stay within your household with the people that you live with. And if you are with other people, indoors or outdoors, and you're, well, indoors, period, wear masks. And if you're outdoors and less than 2 meters apart, to wear masks as well. So although they've lifted or lessened the restrictions, I think they're really, really concerned that this is going to take off if people don't keep up the protocols. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next few days. I heard today that they're very, Ontario, it was mayors, I forget now if it was mayors, the mayor of Toronto, or if it was mayors in Southern Ontario that were very concerned about the lifting of restrictions because they're afraid the variant's really going to take off. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So I mentioned about the opening of their office and the gym, the fitness center. Also, I wanted to outline, this comes, the Provincial Emergency Operations Center comes out of one of their documents, and it's just saying that effective February the 10th, all stage orders are amended to require individuals to wear face coverings and maintain physical distance when indoors in a business with limited exceptions. and to wear face coverings when attending an organized public event or gathering permitted under the regulations if they are within a 2-meter distance. So that part is new. I mean, we were always encouraged to wear masks, but this is now, it's an order that we have to wear masks in businesses. Something else I wanted to highlight was, just from my ministry call on Tuesday, some of the things that they're reporting is that the rates of decrease are around the world are slowing, but they're still progressing slowly. Globally, we've gone down from 1 million cases a day to between 350 and 400,000 cases a day, which is a good sign, but that's starting to plateau. Canada is reporting about 3,000 cases a day. Ontario, approximately 1,000 cases a day from almost 4,000 cases probably a month ago. Right now, Ontario's at 12,000 active cases, and as of, well, that was as of Tuesday, and the previous Friday, we were at 13,000. The ICU beds are in the high 200s. That's down from approximately 385 at the peak, which was a real strain on our system. They say 250 is the critical number in the province, and after that, services start to be cut. So we still haven't reached. I mean, that's still a lot, but we still haven't gotten back down below that critical number. As of Tuesday, they reported the variants are not spreading as quickly as they originally anticipated. It's about a 7 or 8% spread rate as opposed to the 20 or 30% spread rate of the original virus. And the Pfizer plant upgrades are going well, and we should be seeing an increase in delivery volume of vaccines shortly. And just for people who don't know, the March break has been delayed till April 12th to the 16th. And the Mayor and I are participating in a local vaccine table for our region with the Porcupine Health Unit, and our next call is Friday morning, I believe. As far as the CCG goes, I didn't write anything down for that, but our meetings have been relatively short in the last little bit. I mean, we're focusing on, public health unit is focusing on the opioid crisis and the increase in demand for services, and actually it's quite disturbing with the couple of deaths and this increased need. Our messaging, we're trying to keep up on that with, following the protocols and wearing your mask. And I know people are getting sick of listening to it, but it's the only way that it's going to keep us protected. There hasn't been anything. I think there was one charge, or one, I don't even know if they charged them, the OPP. You might be able to comment on that, Mayor Fort. The OPP hasn't had too many complaints in our area. They had one complaint, it was in Wawa. I don't remember if the individual or group was charged, but it's been fairly quiet that way in our area. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, so maybe you can fill in where I missed.
Thank you for that, Gail. No, the only thing I just want to let the council know is that Dr. Henderson has agreed to do a live Q&A for our community on February the 28th, which is a Sunday at 7 p.m. And what we're looking at is just preparing people that the vaccinations are going to be coming to our community. And when they do come, that people have already made their decision. Everyone's prepared. The information's out there. And yeah, I think that's where we're at there. Is there any questions from council for Gail about the COVID update or the emergency response team? Okay, then we'll carry on. Thank you, Gail.
You're muted.
Thank you. So the next thing up is 16.2, the reallocation of funds. And we had a small discussion about this earlier in the meeting. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation, the township of Hornepayne, does hereby authorize the public works manager to purchase a used tracked excavator with a hydraulic thumb. Sorry. Be it resolved that the council of the corporation, the township of Hornepayne, does hereby authorize the public works manager to purchase a used tracked excavator with a hydraulic thumb up. Is that correct?
I don't think there should be an up in there. Dwayne's shaking his head no.
Okay.
So it's up to
Are
a
you
cost of.
Are you guys just trying to mess with me today?
Which one? I bet you it was a fill-in. I don't know. Oh,
No.
oh, Melissa got an answer.
Okay.
It's
It's-
up to a cost of.
Okay, so take thumb out.
No, it's part of the sentence. It's up to a cost of.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, with the hydraulic thumb up to a cost of
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
165,000. Okay, plus HST, thank you. In order to reduce the need to engage outside contractors and to enable municipal staff to perform such things as water and sewer line repairs, building demolitions, digging, and performing work at the landfill site. Be it further resolved, the purchase of the used tracked excavator with a hydraulic thumb shall be expensed from the one-time municipal modernization funds within the 2020 municipal budget. Be it further resolved, resolution numbers 2020-356 and 412, my apologies, are hereby rescinded. Any discussion on the motion? Dwayne, I can hear you laughing. Okay, I'm going to put it to a vote. Those in favor? Okay, that is carried. And moving on to 16.3, the Community Wellbeing Reserve Fund allocation. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda and John. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Whereas the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, NWMO, contributed $700,000 to the Township of Hornepayne's Community Wellbeing Reserve when the township was removed from the site selection process for a deep geological repository for spent nuclear fuel. And whereas Council recognizes that the Community Wellbeing Reserve must be strategically apportioned in order to maximize value and utilize resources to the full potential and in the best interests of the community. And whereas this means ensuring alignment with the recommendations from the Township Service Delivery Review, the goals and objectives of the strategic plan, as well as with the other fundamental planning documents that are being prepared at the Township. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council, the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne does hereby establish the following reserves: Levy Stabilization Reserve, Economic Development Fund Reserve, Municipal Service Corporation Reserve, Community Improvement Plan Fund Reserve, and Municipal Grants Reserve. Be it further resolved that the Council does hereby authorize Melissa Chenier, Client Services Manager Treasurer, to transfer the following amounts into their respective reserves, including reserves which have been previously established. $50,000 Hornepayne Community Hospital generator, which is done. $350,000 Levy Stabilization Reserve, $75,000 Economic Development Fund Reserve, $50,000 Municipal Services Corporation Reserve, $50,000 Community Improvement Plan Fund Reserve, $50,000 Land Fund Reserve, $10,000 for the 100th Anniversary Reserve, and $65,000 Municipal Grants Reserve. Any further discussion on the motion? And those in favor? And that is carried. And we're moving on to 16.4, North Superior Regional Broadband Network, Regional Broadband Network Project. Moved by and a seconder, please. Belinda and John. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Whereas the Township of Hornepayne is a member of the Northeast Superior Regional Broadband Network, NSRBN, which was founded to facilitate the development, installation, and operation of a broadband network to promote economic growth, resiliency, and improve access to health and education services in each of its member communities, the project. And whereas the NSRBN member communities entered into a collaboration agreement setting out the internal structure, roles, and responsibility of the NSRBN organization. And whereas Corporation de Développement Économique et Communautaire de Duberville, on behalf of the NSRBM and Crown Capital Partners Incorporated, Crown, entered into a memorandum of understanding dated February 11th, 2020, setting out a basis for cooperation between NSRBN and Crown for the project. Whereas negotiations between NSRBN and Crown have progressed to the point where a non-binding term sheet setting out the specifics of the proposed collaboration has been prepared. And whereas it is necessary to confirm the Township of Hornepayne's commitment to the project in order to allow the project to proceed. Therefore, be it resolved that the Township of Hornepayne is committed to proceeding as an equal partner in the project. The Township, number 2, the Township approves the non-binding term sheet attached here to as Schedule A, the term sheet, and authorizes the Mayor and CAO Clerk to enter into, execute, and deliver the term sheet on behalf of the Township of Hornepayne. 3, the Township of Hornepayne agrees in principle to provide an anchor commitment as generally set out in the term sheet, final approval of which shall be subject to review and approval of the terms and conditions of an anchor commitment legal agreement. 4, the Township of Hornepayne acknowledges the deadline to finalize binding legal agreements is February 28th, 2021, and agrees to do all things necessary to meet this timeline. Discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker Peter.
Has it been clarified about our, how long of a commitment we have to this project? So once we sign on the dotted line, are we financially committed for a period of 15, 20 years or something? I was talking to somebody else about this, and my concern is if that's the case, some new technology may come 10 years down the road, we're paying into an antiquated system that may be long gone by the time we're done paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is a 20-year commitment. The commitment to the project is 20 years. And it's an indexed commitment on a monthly rate right now showing about $6,000 a month.
So we could potentially, over the course of it, if the technology come along within a decade, Madam Mayor, we could potentially be having a $5,000 mortgage month, $5,000 a month mortgage payment on something that we maybe not be able to raise even enough money to pay for it, other than supplement through the taxes.
Yes. Yep. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Just some. Is that okay? Thank you, Councillor Kistemaker. Councillor Paroff or Councillor Kistemaker, any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
Just to further on his comment, Peter's comment there, I was to believe that the NSB there, the new corporation, is going to keep on top of all the new developments and would always be a part of that. That was my belief. But that's a good question, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have had several, I have several questions about the entire project that have just come up because you got the documents that, the business plan and the strategic final revised plan, correct? Am I getting the names of the documents right?
Feasibility study?
Feasibility studies. Thank you, Gail. And my concern when reading the documents is the structure of the corporation, the structure of profit sharing. I did have a meeting with the the finance person, David Peckett, and it was really good, really well done. And there was where I could ask questions and all sorts of things about the finances of it. And I'm just, I have concerns. I have concerns about the commitment for that length of time. Do we have the money? And you can see in the amount of money that we currently spend on internet and the amount increase, we're going to be doubling our payment. And we already have fiber in the community. We don't have fiber to every home, but we're not going to benefit from that, about bringing fiber from someplace else. So I really have more questions. I don't want to, from where I'm standing, I don't want to derail the project. I would like to hammer out a really good deal, but I'm concerned. I have more questions actually after today too. And I know there's a deadline, and that's another question. Why was there a reason why the deadline? Is there an application? Do they want to get into that application that's due mid-March? I'll put that out to you, Gail. Is that?
Well, Stacy might be able to answer better. There is an application deadline that they're going for, but that I think that application deadline was it was just extended within the last couple of days to March 15th. So I think that would have been before February 28th, if I'm not mistaken, Stacy. I know you can't tell I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at you. So I don't know if it hinged on that or if it's just their year end, or I don't know. I don't know. You don't know?
I don't think it hinged on the grant application. I just think it's the timeline they set after they got the independent financial analysis from David Peckett's company.
Go ahead, Councillor Kistemaker. Peter?
Another thing to consider, Madam Mayor, going forward with this is a 20-year commitment to something that technology, logarithmic, it progresses at such a rate that fiber is amazing. It's speed of light and whatnot. Being able to access is just, it's amazing, but 5-10-year commitment, but mortgage payments for 20 years, that's 2 decades. Willing to bet in less than half that time, we're going to have a technology that, just like our satellite radio, will surpass this or be equal to for a margin of the price. It's just, and I do agree with the price because it's such an overwhelming infrastructure development. It's like you're running fiber through with the whole town. It's a big undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
Gambling our town's money on something that's, I just knows where we're going to be in 20 years. That's a huge financial commitment. And I think it's something that, being the timelines being as short as they are, I'm not willing, myself anyways, I'm not willing to jump into it at first, but yet.
Okay, thank you for that, Peter. John, did you want to say something? I see your.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Paraff.
At some of those the meetings we had, there was, and I didn't look at them recently, but there is an escape clause in it that a community can get out of it. I don't know the details, but it's in there. Maybe some of these questions are, we should put them together and have them answered before too long.
Yes, I agree. I'd like to know if there's the escape clause. Go ahead, Gail.
So there is an escape clause because I think they spoke about it when they came to council, but I don't know the details right off the top of my head. But there is an NSRBN meeting tomorrow. So I'm attending, Mayor Fort's attending, Stacy's attending, and I think Melissa's attending. So I mean, we can forward you that link. Anybody else who wants to attend from council. And also Melissa is in the process of setting up a meeting with David Pickett as well, because as a finance person, like none of the finance people were actually specifically approached about the project. And I mean, our treasurer has to understand the project, right? And I'm actually going to sit in on that too to get a better understanding of it. As we said, well, the last couple of meetings, this seems to have launched itself all of a sudden from something that's being, built rather slowly over the last 3 years to the last months, just bang, bang, bang. And now these questions are coming up. So we definitely need to have answers to them. I thought there was one other thing I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was at the moment, but we are going to be having another meeting, and the meeting tomorrow. If you want the link, let me know.
Thank you for that, Gail. Yeah, if anyone wants that link, get it from Gail. And I just want to say that through these conversations, it has been really good to understand, like through the meetings, I didn't know what dark fiber was. I didn't know what that was. And then I had a meeting today with an expert asking questions, just trying to understand this. And that came up. And then the conversation of smart communities came up. And if we're looking at building our community for the next 20 or 25 years, we need to have a good understanding of what that roadmap looks like in the ground. Like, what do we want to put in there? How do we want to put in there? And I did voice that at one of our meetings that we might not be ready for a fall rollout of fiber, that we have to do a bit more planning. And that was in the discussion as well. And that was well received, that there could be some play with that on how our rollout happens. So there's so much more to learn about the whole project, like about the implementation of our community and also weighing our value to the project, ensuring that we are actually getting our value and all communities are getting their value for the project, because we're committing as the 9 communities over just under $11 million. So that's a significant amount of money. Go ahead, Gail.
I remembered what it was. I received an email, and I believe it was I don't know if it was at the council meeting, or I think it must have been, because I don't think I've met with that committee since. I can't remember. But anyway, they did mention that because this funding is coming out, that they're applying for the Universal Broadband Fund, that other entities would be reaching out to us, sort of wanting to get our support in our business. So I did actually get a letter last evening from Bell Canada, and they are looking to apply to the Universal Broadband Fund, so the same fund that the RBN is applying to, and they're looking for a letter of support from the township for their application. And what they say in here is it will expand their all fiber broadband network, and the community will benefit from improved broadband access that supports the connectivity needs of residents, institutions, and businesses in the area, including broadband speeds using the world's fastest internet technology, up to 1.5 gigabits per second for downloads and up to 940 megabits per second for uploads. So what they're saying is there's a they want a letter of support from us that demonstrates that access to high-speed internet is a stated priority for our community, and they're asking for the letter of support by March the 5th, because the applications are due on the 15th. So I mean, something to consider, but we've already provided a letter of support back in December for the NSRBN application. So I don't know if they would work against each other. Just putting that out there so you know that remind you that letter's already out there. And I wanted to bring this to your attention because we don't have another meeting before, right now, we don't have another meeting scheduled before March the 5th.
Well, I'm Because there are other avenues to bring fiber to our residents. There are other avenues. And one of the quickest avenues is to work with a service provider, one-on-one. And that's I'm just wondering, do we have enough value that would be, we've never explored that as a community. And we didn't qualify for the other branches of funding through the NSRBN project because we had so much internet access already. We were meeting the criterias. When those, if you recall, there was green hexagons on the sheets of I believe that was in the feasibility study. And that's why we weren't included with that initial application. Am I getting that right? Am I saying that right, Stacy? I'm going to put that over to you.
Yes, so we didn't meet the criteria because we already had fiber to the community. But we have to remember that Bell's been here for 8 years and hasn't put fiber to the houses. So why we didn't meet the first criteria is that we had fiber to the community, but that didn't bring us better access.
Right, but did Bell brought the fiber to all our businesses? It's Bell that brought the fiber to our businesses, our township, the hospital, and the schools, correct?
No, they had to pay for it. The businesses had to pay for it.
All the business has had to pay for the fiber to go in the ground?
That is correct. I wanted to put fiber into here too, and talking to Bell, and they said, no, I got to pay for it.
But initially when it came to, go ahead, Gail.
Yeah, just thinking back, I believe there was a $12,000 cost to install it, but they waived that fee. But we do pay a monthly fee.
We pay a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we locked into a contract with them if they ran our fiber for us?
We do have a contract. I think it expires fairly soon. Melissa, you might better be able to answer that than I.
Yeah, if memory serves me correctly, I think it expires this August or this June 2021 or something like that.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure, Council, where do you want to move for this? Where do we want to move next? What do we want to do next? I don't think we're at a position to support a resolution or to move on this resolution because this binds us to the non-binding term sheet and that we're committed to proceed as an equal partner within this resolution. Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
I was just wondering, when is the drop dead final date that the NSMB wants?
The 28th, I believe, of February. Yeah, it's in the resolution, the 28th.
Oh.
But I'm like, even that, I'm sorry, I am going to voice that at the meeting tomorrow because the November meeting with the financials, when the financials came out, it got shifted at the last, like it was really quick. It got shifted around and I know I couldn't make that meeting. And then we ended up, Gail and I talking, got them to come at the beginning of January. So we'd have extra time to make this decision. And it's beyond me that if a community can come to a reasonable decision already in 6 weeks and sign up for a 20-year contract that we don't even have the financials for. I am concerned about that. And I will voice that tomorrow that I just think, personally, I think we could come to a better deal for the 9 communities. There has to be a better way. And if someone can explain that to me clearly that no, there's not, then I will listen. But I haven't felt that yet. And in asking for meetings to discuss the finances, I don't like I'd like it to be open and transparent as much as it could be. And I just don't, the process doesn't feel that or doesn't seem that way to me through everything. And I've gone through the different reports back, and I know there's been tons of time and energy put into this project. But when it comes to negotiating a contract that 9 communities are going to put their hand to and pen to paper, I want to be at the table to negotiate it. And I'm sorry if we sign that, if that's what we signed back in February of 2020, I did not realize that we were having other people negotiate on our behalf. Go ahead, Gail.
So I was just going to suggest that maybe you defer the resolution. We've got the meeting tomorrow, an opportunity to, well, hopefully opportunity to ask questions, and then Melissa will have her meeting and get a clearer picture as well. And then I don't know what will come out of the meeting tomorrow, but there may be other communities that come up with the same concerns or haven't maybe thought of some of the concerns that are going to be brought up. And they may end up having to set their deadline back. Who knows if people want, to negotiate a better deal or whatever.
Or just understand the terms of the deal better, more clearly of what we're signing, what we're committing our community to for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like a good plan, Council? We'll defer the resolution, and I can definitely tell at the meeting tomorrow that our resolution was deferred because we need further information, and that it's not off the table. It's we need to be solid on it if we're going to sign a 20-year commitment. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Paroff. Did you?
No, I agree. Defer it. Listen to the meeting tomorrow. And I don't know what time the meeting's tomorrow, but if you could send me the link, I would try hard to be there. I'd try to sign in.
Yeah, Gail can get you the link for sure.
Thanks.
Okay, so that's what we're looking at, Council, that we would defer this motion until our next meeting. Is everyone in agreement to defer? Can I see a raise of hands for deferred, please? Okay, we're deferring. Okay, moving on. To 16.5, I believe. Yes. There's no, this is just a draft bylaw right now, correct? If we were to keep a bylaw?
Correct.
I think I'm going to get to the report here. The resolution is to have no or the recommendation is to have no bylaw, just go with the legislation.
Correct.
Dwayne, did you want to speak to your report about this?
I think it's pretty clear in the report. If you have any questions, I'll take them though.
Okay, Council, did you have any questions for Dwayne about the report of the vehicles, the motorized vehicles? Or sorry, I should say off-road motorized vehicles. The only question I had for you, Dwayne, was about the noise, because our current bylaw has a noise restriction and we don't currently have a noise bylaw. But this is one, but this wouldn't cover, our current bylaw wouldn't cover snowmobiles anyway, right?
Nope.
Yes. And does the Ontario regulation have anything in there about noise or anything like that?
Nope, nothing
No?
about noise.
Nothing about noise, okay.
The only thing I worry about, if we restrict too much, we're going to restrict the recreation and tourism, because all the towns now in our area are all connected. It's an opportunity to have more tourism coming to town.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree totally. I just sometimes I know I've had it on Front Street here this winter where the snowmobiles 2 in the morning are revving that and I'm like, whoa, people like are sleeping. Like it's just and woke me up out of a dead sleep. So, but that would have to come later. So I'm wondering if we could put that, if we were to do a noise bylaw, that would fall in that. If we did an all-encompassing noise bylaw.
I would
Go
say
ahead.
yes.
Yes, okay. Melissa, go ahead.
Those cans that are on the skidoos that do the rah, rah noise, those are against the law. So just call the OPP. They're not supposed to be on the skidoos.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was an accessory. Okay. Okay. So is council good with the recommendation that we repeal bylaw 925 and that we'll no longer have a bylaw? We'll just fall under the Ontario regulation? We're good with that? Is that resolution going to be on our next meeting? Okay. No further discussion then, council? Dwayne, did you want to speak?
No, I think we covered everything, I think.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to 16.6, and this is budget timeline dates. So in the report, there is the recommendation from the treasurer. So the 3 dates would be, the first one would be March 10th, the presentation to council. There would be a submission period for public and for council from the 11th to the 17th. And then March 24th, we'd have council deliberations and a public open discussion. And March 31st, we would intend to adopt the budget and the water and sewer rates. Are those dates good for council? Good for John? Belinda's good? Peter's good? Okay, I'm going to fill in the, do we want to, were you going with just a regular 6 o'clock time, Melissa, on these recommendations?
Yeah, if that works for council, that's what I was recommending.
Okay. And 6 o'clock is good for everyone? I'm assuming that's what everyone looked up was 6 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to fill in the resolution then with March 10th at 6 p.m. to present to council on the 2021 municipal budget and 2021 water and sewer rates. And there's an extra spot there. If is that because you wanted to add anything to the meeting? Was there any?
No, nothing specific, unless somebody else can think of anything, but there's a spot in case you do want to, but I did add to the March 31st or the last meeting, which I was anticipating to be March 31st, the annual departmental work plans.
Yes, okay.
And then I believe, I don't have the resolution up in front of me, but I believe the other two have blank spots, correct?
Yes, they do, yeah.
In case there's something that we wanted to slip in there that you had sort of on the docket. The senior management team didn't have anything in particular at this point in time. But I mean, there may be the NSRBN could come up again, but it's hard to say when that would be at this point. You know, when will we have enough information to have another discussion?
Yeah, I'm wondering, do we want to put the NSRBN on the first meeting and just have an update at that time where we are? And then it shows that we're still looking at the project when we go to the meeting as well. And then we can put, because our council meeting follows after that. I don't have a.
On the 17th.
On the 17th. So then if we had something further, we could put it on the council agenda. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, it would have to be a pretty quick turnaround though, because that meeting, the agenda for the 17th meeting goes out on the Friday, and the meeting for the 10th would be in the evening. So depending on what needed to be done in between, I don't know if there'd be enough time. It might be better to put it on the 24th special meeting.
Okay. Oh, okay, so you're saying.
Like the meeting on the 10th, would
Yep.
be an update, but if there's something that you need prepared, it doesn't leave a lot of time to do the prep and to get it onto the agenda to go on Friday. It'd be a bit of a rush.
Okay, so do you want to fill in the slot for NSRBN on both those blank spots?
But I think
An
that would be better
update and
time.
then, okay. So do we want I'll just put NSRBN. We don't need anything further than that, or?
You could put NSRBN broadband project maybe.
Okay. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? And then I'll read out the resolution. Peter and Belinda. Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council, the corporation, the township of Hornepayne does hereby set the following special meetings in virtual meeting rooms for the following reasons. Date, Wednesday, March the 10th, 2021 at 6 p.m. For presentation to council on the 2021 municipal budget and 2021 water and sewer rates. Also the NSRBN broadband project. And on Wednesday, March the 24th at 2021 at 6 p.m. It will be council deliberations and public discussion on the 2021 municipal budget and the 2021 water and sewer rates, and also the NSRBN broadband project. And Wednesday, March the 31st, 2021 at 6 p.m. with the intent to adopt the 2021 municipal budget and the 2021 water and sewer rates, and also the annual departmental work plans. Be it further resolved that written inquiries and comments from council and the public regarding the 2021 municipal budget and the 2021 water and sewer rates will be open and accepted from Thursday, March 11th, 2021 to Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. And please tell me I got that all right. Okay. And I put that to the vote, council. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to 16.7, it's the Municipal Service Corporation. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Peroff. Whereas the township is proposing to establish the establishment of a municipal service corporation, MSC, which will be known as the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, to support the delivery of certain housing services to its residents and taxpayers. And whereas the township will be the single shareholder of the MSC, and as such is responsible for setting the mission, vision, and objectives for the entity to ensure alignment with the township's priorities as outlined in Council's strategic plan the service delivery review, the housing needs and demand study, as well as other fundamental planning documents being completed by the township. Therefore, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Hornepayne does hereby set mission, vision, and objectives for Hornepayne Housing Corporation as outlined in the attached documents. Any discussion on the motion? Thank you for all the organization and the work that was done by staff. Looks great. And I put that to the vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, and now we're moving on to 1718 bylaws. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Go ahead, Gail.
I just didn't know if you wanted to do 16.8 committee, council committee updates, if there are any.
Oh, yes, I do. I was skipping over you all. Okay, council committee updates. Any updates from council? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
Okay, thank you. On February 13th, I had a Thunder Bay Municipal League meeting. And in that meeting, we talked about one of the primary things was the EMS services. And they're coming out of Thunder Bay. They're covering out of Thunder Bay. And I know it's in a different district than we are. We're in the Algoma district for health services. But they went ahead and they're cutting services to many of the smaller communities with little to no consultation. A letter did go out. I'm not sure if everybody received it or not, but I know the township did. And I guess at some point we should decide if we want to support it or not. It is in a different district.
Okay, go ahead, Gail.
So I talked with Councillor Paroff about this today briefly, and I said that you know, if he mentioned it tonight, that would be great, and then I could put it, excuse me, put it on the March 17th meeting.
Okay.
If that works for everybody.
Okay, and there is a letter that was received that's John's talking about, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe too, it'll give us an opportunity to reach out to our ADSAB and talk about our services and bring it back up with them. And I'm just thinking about our community living Algoma, how that's all went very well. That give them the heads up that this is coming, even though it's a different board. Well, thank you for that, Councillor Roth. Anything else?
No, that was good enough. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Kistemaker or Councillor Kistemaker? No, we're good? Okay. The only thing that I would like to talk about is the countless extra meetings just for the broadband and trying to figure that out. But I am currently today and tomorrow, I have been in AFN's water symposium, which has been really well done, and listening to speakers on that and just to bring clean water to everybody in not only our province, but across Canada. And it's been very interesting. I also will be participating in the Ontario Good Roads Conference with Dwayne next week, and also the Ontario Forest Industry Association's convention next week as well. So looking forward to getting involved there. And that's all I have to report at this time. I do apologize to council. I do have the video recording that I did for IESO, and I will forward it to Gail. It'll be on our next agenda. I hadn't realized I didn't forward that, so you'll see my small talk that I did there for our community. So, and I will forward the Ontario Forest Industry Association's speech that I'm giving on at their convention as well. So you'll have 2 of them at our next meeting, our next regular meeting. And that's it. So we'll move on. Okay, now we're on to 18. And I'm almost pressing my mute button. I don't know why. Okay, 18. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter and John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw 1839 being a bylaw to amend the Municipal Forest Fire Management Agreement with Her Majesty the Queen in right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the motion or the bylaw? Okay, there being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, 18.2. Did you want to speak to your report, Dwayne, or was it Dwayne or Gail that made this report? Gail.
No, it was me, but not really. I think everything's laid out there.
Okay. Any questions or comments to Gail about her report? Go ahead, Councillor Paroff.
Gail, in your report, one of these documents, I think, talk about getting an accurate where all the hydro poles and the underground water lines and stuff is.
Yeah, well, what we're hoping to do is, like, our plans are in there right now, but as we all know, the plans weren't built as they were planned, and lots of things are not where we think they are. So as the repairs are being done, we're updating that information, or well, actually that hasn't been put into the GIS system, but it's on the plans. So we want to make sure all that goes in there. And then as we go forward with our long-term planning for assessing the water and sewer lines and replacing the water and sewer lines, like every step of the way, you know, we'll add information. So I know now when they're doing digs, they're GPSing them, and you know, that information can go in there. And the same thing with all of our well, anything that we have actually could be GPSed, and it could have condition pictures attached. When you click on, you'll see, you know, the condition, the physical condition, when it was last changed, when it was last repaired, all that kind of stuff. So the system has that capacity or potential, and we want to use it more. And Dwayne is actually very interested and very keen on using this to help with our asset management, and you know, has the I shouldn't say he has the time, because you don't really have any more time than the rest of us, but you're willing to make the time, I suppose. And as we do it, it will make things easier in the long run, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. That's good. That's good. I was just wondering if that aspect of it was included already in the price tag for the
Yep.
for the services.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, John. I'm just one question, either Gail or Dwayne. Can you add video to that, or is it just still pictures? Can you actually video?
Yes.
I don't know. We'd have to check with Anders in Wawa. I've never heard that mentioned in the whole time we've been involved in that program, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. Dwayne,
Yeah.
unless you know something better than me.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's the same program you guys are using, John.
Yeah, I
You
know.
probably seen it.
You can add video if you like.
Okay, perfect. Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder for the bylaw, please. Peter, John. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1840, being a bylaw to enter into the memorandum of understanding with the municipality of Wawa to provide Geographic Information System, GIS, related services to be hereby read a first and second time and considered read a third time and finally passed. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on to 18.3. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. John and Peter. Moved by John Paroff, second by Peter Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1841, being a bylaw to authorize a letter of understanding with the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, MNRF, to permit the use of the Township of Hornepayne's road network data for the Ontario Road Network, ORN, be hereby read a first and a second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Any discussion on the bylaw? Okay, I put this to the vote. Those in favor? And that's carried. And 18.4 asset transfer policy. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Peter, John. There wasn't a report with this, Gail, but this comes out of our meetings from our municipal service corp about us having our own asset or our own asset transfer policy at the township.
Yes,
Correct?
and
That's where
yes,
this had come from.
Yeah, and that's the document that we actually looked at that meeting.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1842, being a bylaw to asset transfer policy for the corporation of the Township of Hornepayne, be hereby read a first and a second time and be considered read a third time and finally pass. Any further questions on the bylaw? And those in favor? And that is carried. And 18.5, the creation of the Municipal Service Corp. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Belinda and John. Moved by Belinda Kistemaker, second by John Paroff. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1843, being a bylaw to authorize the creation of a municipal service corporation, MSC, to support the delivery of certain housing services to its residents and taxpayers, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Be it further resolved that the municipal service corporation shall be known as the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, HHC. Further discussion on the bylaw? And I put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. Just made history there, Hornepayne. Okay. And we're down to the end of our meeting. There's 19, 20, 21, 22. We don't have any of those. So we're at 23, the adjournment. If I can get a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory. Peter and Belinda. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that bylaw number 1844, being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of council at their regular meeting held on Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, be hereby read a first and second time and be considered read a third time and finally passed. Those in favor? And that's carried. Yay, I didn't have to use that last resolution. Gail puts in the last resolution as the one to go past 10 o'clock, if you're wondering what I'm referring to. If I can get a mover and a seconder to close this meeting. Peter and Belinda. Moved by Peter Kistemaker, second by Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, February 17th, 2021 at 9:07 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried.